Brilliant. And thank you very much, Alison. Thanks for that, for inviting me along and giving me this opportunity to engage with you on this lunchtime seminar. Now, I'm going to share my own PowerPoint, so give me 1 second to do that. Oh, excuse me, sorry, let me get back. Right, there we go, sorry about that. Okay. So most of you, I'm sure, are aware of RNID. Now, previously we were known as action on hearing loss, but now we've gone back to our original name, back to our old name of RNID. So RNID, we drive change in our community to make society more inclusive for everyone, to help people to hear better. And we also fund world-class research for the future. Now, hearing loss is a major public health issue. So here we have 12 million people in the UK at the moment who are deaf or have a hearing loss. Now, back in 2015, RNID conducted a report called Hearing Matters, and that report concluded that there were, at that point in 2015, 11 million people with a hearing loss or living with deafness. Now that equates to 1 in 6 people living with a hearing loss. But research has now shown that actually by 2035, we expect that figure to increase to 14.2 million people, which then brings that ratio down to 1 in 5. So in our community, deafness and hearing loss is a big issue and it is prevalent. So that's 1 in 5. Now, 1 in 8 people will have tinnitus. But what I'll say is many, many more people, I said 1 in 8 are known to have tinnitus, but many, many more people are living with those conditions, but without the diagnosis. So RNID our campaigns may not directly impact you as an individual, but it will be impacting someone you know, or someone you care about, or someone you support. Now, we work together with our community. We work in partnership with health stakeholders, employers, researchers, government, and we work together to change people's lives for the better. Now, some facts and figures. So across the UK, we have about 87,000 people who are deaf and use sign language. In Northern Ireland, that figure is 4,500 deaf sign language users. But did you know, were you aware that in Northern Ireland, we actually have 2 sign languages? One is Irish Sign Language and the other is British Sign Language. Okay. So there's actually 2 sign languages used. Now, in Northern Ireland, we have 4,500 sign language users. What I would say is 2/4 are BSL users, that's British Sign Language. 1/4 is ISL. And then about 1/4 of those people are bilingual with BSL and ISL. But you might be wondering what the difference is between BSL and ISL. And actually, why there's 2, ISL relates to the language in the Republic of Ireland, but it doesn't relate to the Irish spoken language. So it's nothing to do with speaking Irish. It's the sign language of the deaf community in the Republic of Ireland, but handshapes are different. The language is totally different. But like I said, the majority of people in Northern Ireland use BSL. But it's really important for yourselves as social workers or social care workers to check in with the individual, check in with your clients and find out what their communication needs are specifically and which sign language they use if they're a sign language user. So bear that in mind if and when you're working with sign language users. Now, for older deaf people in care homes, unfortunately, they are particularly at risk of isolation and loneliness. They're also at risk of losing their sense of cultural identity. Quite often, what we see is that they are the only deaf person and the only sign language user in a care home. And so deaf sign language users in care homes are isolated between a number of different homes. And it means that all their peers, all their staff really struggle to communicate with them. And they're left very much isolated, despite best intentions. And that can have a detrimental effect on both their mental and their physical health. So what we realized through our research was that the staff who are supporting these individuals, whether they're these deaf individuals, whether it's in the care home or in the community, we realized that staff just aren't receiving the appropriate training that they deserve, that they aren't skilled, they don't feel skilled enough to be providing that specialist support. So we realized that was a big gap in the support that the care workers were providing. So we wanted to solve that, and we wanted to equip people in that position with the resources and the training to allow them to get the support that they need. Now, for the last 2 years, we've been working in partnership with the Department for Communities and also with Queen's University Belfast. And through those partnerships, what we've developed is a digital toolkit, like a digital kit bag, so to speak. And that includes communication resources on a range of different topics to support those who are caring for others, who are providing support to deaf people. So we developed the resources to equip people to feel confident in the work that they do. As well as developing the digital kit bag, we have also developed and delivered training to staff in care homes where there are deaf residents. So we've trained them in introduction to BSL over a series of 4 sessions, and that's worked really well. But now, unfortunately, that training has now ceased. But the good news is that the digital kit bag is still available. And so we're making it available to you as well today. So
it's Carrie here. I'm just ringing about Margaret McMillan. So there's been a delay with her medication.
I just asked everybody to
sent over the script. So the receptionist said she would leave it for one of the GPs.
Christine, can you mute that person?
Yeah, I've muted them.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
All right, no, that's grand. No, thank you. So I was actually just about to thank the Northern Ireland Social Care Council, because we've actually worked with them to ensure that those digital resources that were developed are now made available on the wonderful Learning Zone platform. So it means that everyone in this seminar today is able to go onto the Learning Zone, type deaf into the search bar and look for the RNID logo, and you'll find all of those resources.
So what's in the kit bag? So the first part in the kit bag is obviously if you're working with sign language workers within a care home, for example, whether that's using a variety of common phrases and signs, you can see, for example, behind me here on the board, I've put the posters up here. They're both in British Sign Language, BSL, and Irish Sign Language, ISL, and they are downloadable. Either in digital format or in hard copies. We provide those, and you then can put them up in the staff room, so your colleagues then could practice and learn those signs. There's also communication tips in the kit bag to support people within the care home or living in the community. This is an example of the communication guidance and tips. And also then we have an Irish Sign Language and British Sign Language alphabet. So you can practice your finger spelling. And they look just like this. So if you are interested in downloading the kit bag, please do have a look. You're able to avail of that resource. I'm going to show you how to get that in the next slide. Or alternatively, if you wanted to get hard copies of any of those resources, please email or message me, and I'd be absolutely delighted to post you out those resources. So in relation then to the posters, that's not all that we provide. So that's some really good news that we actually have further resources. So there's a variety of videos, signed videos that relate then to the care sector. And all of that then you can go on and see. So you can see the little pictures there. I'm going to give you a little demonstration of some of them. Just one moment to stop this. Okay, and get this on screen. So you can see that we work in partnership with Queen's University, and you can see then the type of information that's on the site. You can go down and there's two different languages in sign language. There's British Sign Language there, BSL, or Irish Sign Language and ISL. We'll go into the British Sign Language section. And you can see there's the alphabet, there's numbers, there's signs relating to home environment, family, emotions, feelings, food, greetings, mobility, medications. You know, I'm sure it's incredibly important to understand that someone needs to know what type of medications that they're taking. And that is a really useful way of learning some signs. I'm going to go into one of these to give you an example. As you can see here. So my name is, hello. How are you? You said, I'm well. And thank you. Goodbye. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. And good night. Excuse me. Please. Sorry. Again. So there's an example of one then part of those signs. You can see there in the blue, you can click on there very quickly to see if there's anything you want. If the video is maybe too long, you can see there's some signs particularly that you may want to learn in the blue, and you can go directly to those signs. In relation to medication and mobility, if you have a look in that section, again, you can see walking frame. There's tablets, whether it's an injection, and the different ways of taking medication. It can show you all of that. So the walking frame, an example. Okay. It seems to have frozen on us. I don't know what's happening there. hoist. Oh, we're back again. So it's a walking frame. You can see there, obviously, because I went into the shorter clips just to get that one specific sign. And that's an example of how you do that. So that is a valuable resource that's there for you as staff to go on and use at any time, and a great way of practicing some basic signs that are very relevant then to your role within your workplace. I'm going to go back now onto the PowerPoint. It's very, very important for staff then to be able to check with the client and see what their communication needs are. So therefore then you can practice based on what that person's needs are. A lot of deaf people in care homes often maybe miscommunicate, maybe don't understand something due to frustration, anxiety, and their mental health may be in decline due to isolation. I can think of one deaf person within a care home setting, and the care home staff, obviously they changed, there's a high frequency of turnover, and then there was a member of staff then on, and the person was trying to say that they needed to go to the bathroom. And the staff member then helped the person go into the toilet. They left them there and then went back to get them to take them out. And the person hadn't actually finished using the toilet. But the staff member didn't understand what was being said. There was a real communication barrier there. And they thought that they were okay. So the poor person had to go back and sit. And then they wet the bed then later on, and then they got quite upset because of that situation. But I'm hoping, because of the type of resources that have been developed, that staff members can gain that skill set and i.e. then confidence to be able to communicate more effectively then with deaf sign language users. And obviously this is incredibly useful for your continuous professional development as well. And it's an excellent start to seeing whether you want to progress in your learning of sign language, maybe go into a level 1 class in a college or something like that. So I promise you, you will actually thoroughly enjoy learning sign language. It's a beautiful language to learn. So in relation to where you'll find this information, you can see it there, and it's healthscience.co.uk. You can go to the QR code there if you prefer, using your mobile. You can do that. I'll leave that up for a few minutes if you wanted to, a few seconds, excuse me, if you want to download that onto your phone and get that information up and learning the alphabet in British or sign language. Okay, you had a chance to do that. We work in partnership with the Northern Ireland Social Care Council, and I'm so delighted to have the opportunity then to have resources then that help in relation to the learning framework for all of you. And if there's any more resources and information, so that can be why someone has hearing loss or deafness, types of hearing loss and deafness, how it's diagnosed, signs of deafness or hearing loss, the benefits of hearing aids, hearing loss and dementia and how they're often linked. Can hearing aids prevent dementia in people with hearing loss? It's a good question. Communication tips and the both British Sign Language and Irish Sign Language alphabets, the finger spelling charts, and then useful phrases both in British Sign Language and Irish Sign Language. We have the digital communication card, and that then encourages you then to create a communication card, a digital communication card. I'll give you an example of this. So I'm obviously a British Sign Language user. I need a sign language interpreter. If communication is happening, it needs to be face-to-face. So that would be my communication needs. That would be downloaded and printed and that would be my card reflecting my communication needs. That could be put on the bedroom door of the person you're working with, or that means as soon as carers are going into that room or that facility, they're aware that that person's communication needs are. So that digital format, or alternatively ourselves with an RNID on our website, so you can download it there. Ourselves within RNID, there's lots more avenues of support that we provide. So there's the Hearing Aid Support Project, there is hearing checks, and then there's online support that we also offer. We offer free support in relation to the maintenance of hearing aids. So whether that's cleaning them or batteries being replaced, the tubes being replaced, and also then offering someone advice on the best use of their hearing aids, whether it would be adjusting it to suit different environments, or alternatively other people also then knowing that others also share the same experience by using hearing aids themselves. And so many people with hearing aids are a bit reluctant to use them. Either they're not aware of how to use them. You'll often find them in bedroom drawers. You know, in the same way if someone needed their glasses, they put them on straight away and they're done and dusted with them. But with hearing aids, it almost takes someone an adjustment period to be able to wear them and have the confidence to use them. Ourselves and RNID also have our online hearing check. So you can do that yourself. Go online and test your own hearing on that. It's 3 minutes, so it's a very, very quick check, and that way you can see if you have any hearing loss. And we strongly recommend the earlier you have a diagnosis, the earlier you can have appropriate intervention and get the right support. So in relation then to getting a hearing check, as I had mentioned earlier, there is the kit bag, and once you do go on then to that hearing check, if you do, it lets you know whether you're within normal range or not, and if you're not then within the normal range, your GP then can make a referral for you to go and have an audiologist have a proper hearing check for you. You could have a blockage within the ear. You may have some type of hearing loss that would then benefit from wearing a hearing aid. RNID, we also then have online support that we offer people. So that could be if you had any questions, any information that you were looking for, you could type that in to the search engine and it will give you a variety then of possible answers. And then you can download it from there. And there's a variety of information there, whether it's relation to deafness, hard of hearing, health, hearing checks, hearing health, benefits, tinnitus, your rights, work, deaf awareness, communication support. Oh, there's an absolute wealth of information for you to be able to check out online. So our service is vitally important. And the reasons for that is that on average, people eventually see a professional for help with their hearing loss. It takes them roughly about 10 years to go and seek that additional health support and that health advice. So that 10-year delay really isn't good for that person. That delay in the diagnosis of their hearing loss can then result then in other consequences, and very serious consequences potentially. So they could certainly benefit from hearing aids, potential of not going to get that intervention has a detriment effect on their mental well-being. So therefore they may become isolated. So therefore, in order to minimize that risk, the earlier someone seeks help, the better. I also should mention that in relation then to age-related hearing loss, maybe miscommunication or somebody misunderstanding something, maybe they aren't giving appropriate responses to questions, may sort of appear confused, and you think maybe, gosh, I wonder if they got dementia. But it mightn't be anything related to dementia at all. It could be hearing loss that they're experiencing, and that is a result of miscommunication. For ourselves in RNID, I can't emphasize enough about the importance of early intervention, and as a result of that early intervention, it reducing then the risk for that person. And that person needs support on their journey. And almost like they need to adjust and accept their hearing loss. And we want to reduce the stigma of having a hearing loss. There's no stigma, there's no shame in that. It's just some people can be very frightened of feeling that or experiencing that. And we want to reduce that as much as possible for everyone in society.
Ready to swap, Sheila? Now, RNID, well, the RNID, what we have, RNID near you as such, is the hearing aid. We have the hearing aid support service, and that's an outreach service. So we have drop-in clinics that hearing aid users can come free of charge to the drop-in clinics, and that can be for basic tasks like battery replacement, tube replacement, even cleaning, and showing hearing aid users how to get the best out of their hearing aids. So there are, I think we have over 36 drop-in clinics, I think, across Northern Ireland. So if you want to have a look at the website, they've got them all listed there, and you'll be able to find out where your nearest clinic is. RNID is also online, as we mentioned before. So if you want any information, then please do contact RNID, the contact centre through the various means. We have a phone number, we have our website, we have a chat, a live chat on the website as well that you can message, staff back and forth. We've got that Monday to Friday, half 8 till 5 o'clock. Now, I actually fired through that pretty quickly. Maybe I was signing far too fast, but I want to just say massive thanks to the Northern Ireland Social Care Council for allowing us the opportunity to come and engage with you all today. So if I can open the session up now for questions, I'd be glad to field those.
We're all speechless. Anyone, any questions?
Hi, it's not a question as such, more a request.
Oh, yes, I saw.
Mhm.
Is that the wee message on the chat? Okay, do you want to go ahead and ask your
Okay,
question?
so
or-
I see Carmel's commented. Is that what we're talking about? Just mentioning, right, so I should say, right, my email address, let me just pop it in here. So first of all, I maybe should have explained at the very start, and apologies that I didn't. So we have our two interpreters who are simply translating everything that I sign. So Sally and Sheila are just saying what I'm saying in English. So they're being my voice for today, because I know someone had asked for Sheila's email address, but bless her, she's just the interpreter. So that's why I've popped my email address in. It's mariette.mulvena@rnid.org.uk.
Can I just ask a wee question just about hearing aids and I suppose the cost of them? Sometimes we as social workers get asked, from a service user who has poor hearing, well, I couldn't afford a hearing aid, or how to go about getting that. So is there a cost to them when they're maybe assessed by audiology, or do they get grants or something for them?
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. So that is a very important question. So thank you for that. Now, the NHS, they provide hearing aids free of cost. So absolutely free for digital hearing aids. So please reassure your clients, your service users, and ask them to go to the GP. Explain to the GP that they have a concern over their hearing and they think they might have a hearing loss, and ask for a referral to get assessed properly with the ear, nose and throat, the ENT. So ENT can do the full assessment, and then they can diagnose hearing loss and then refer on to audiology, who will assess whether a hearing aid is suitable for that individual. And all of that pathway is entirely free. So the NHS provide the batteries free then for aftercare. They provide the tubing free, and we at RNID provide free support to maintain the hearing aids. We actually work with the health service. We're funded by the health board to provide that additional support to hearing aid users, which, you know, we work in partnership with audiology. So we will then go to audiology, pick up the batteries, pick up the tubing, and then make those available, because we know audiology is overstretched. They do all of the technical support, you know, all of the in-depth stuff, but we can do the basic maintenance. Now, that's the NHS, and that is entirely free. People will opt to go to private companies, and there is a cost involved, but the costs vary greatly. I know some people prefer to go privately versus the NHS, but I would strongly encourage any of your service users to go to the NHS, because the service is there, it's free, and it's also a great service.
Great, thanks very much for that.
Sorry, could I ask? Hello?
Hello, yes, come on, ask.
I was just wondering, do you do an outreach to any of the nursing or residential homes? I have recently carried out reviews where the person who uses the hearing aid, there's a question as to whether or not it's wax buildup behind the hearing aid, and also whether or not a loop system might be of benefit to them. Is that, do you do any sort of assessment along those lines?
Yeah, well, so we have our hearing aid service, the hearing aid support service, and yes, they would visit care homes, residential homes, and they can check, you know, the hearing aids of any residents who are there. So they can absolutely check if the hearing aid's working, and, you know, do any basic maintenance that might allow that hearing aid to work better, the likes of retubing. And then they can also provide training to the residents and the staff about how to best look after their hearing aids and get them the most out of it. Now, you mentioned wax. That would be a role that we don't do. So that would be out of our boundary. That would be a professional that would be required for that particular service. Now, you also mentioned the loop, and it depends very much on the individual. Now, for example, it might be that they're watching the TV, and you can get, you know, the TV, maybe they need the TV up really loud. Now, they might benefit from having a loop system specifically for the TV, but what that requires is the hearing aid to be programmed with a T setting on it. Now, a lot of people maybe don't have that T switch on their hearing aid as standard, so it's worth, before you invest in a loop or anything like that, make sure that the individual has the T setting or the T program on their hearing aid first. If they don't, it's not a big issue, but they will need to go to audiology and request that that program is added. Now, that there's no issue with that. Audiology are always very happy to add that, but that's just another thing to consider before you invest in a lot of technology. And now in the home, so if an individual is in their own home, for example, it can be really useful to contact the health trust, wherever their local health trust is, and the sensory support team specifically within the Health Trust, and they can come out and do an assessment for the individual's needs within their own home. So it could be then that they are provided with specialist equipment on the back of that assessment, and specialist equipment that matches the needs of that individual. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Not a problem at all, Eamon.
I'm just looking, does that answer Denise's question as well? Does the RNID do home visits for hearing aid checks?
We don't, in that we do home visits for the hearing aid maintenance if the person is if they have limited mobility and they're unable to leave their own home. You know, if they're homebound as such. So if they've got hearing aid maintenance requirements, then we can do if they're homebound, then we can do that. What we would say in terms of the hearing checks, it's an online system. So it's an online hearing check. But what you could do is encourage your clients, you know, you could get alongside to support them to access the website, but the hearing checks are always done online, and so they require access to Wi-Fi. But that's certainly something you can support your clients to do.
Can I ask, you had mentioned there about a level 1 class on doing sign language. Is that something that's run in local regional colleges, or is it an online thing, or how can we go about doing that?
Yes, absolutely. Well, actually it's both. So it's not either or. You can access your local college and see what sign language courses they have available. Usually they start in September, and it's a year-long program. Or you can go online and engage in remote learning. There are some local sort of freelance tutors who deliver online courses. I believe there's Sign Source is one local provider, an individual, Anthony Sinclair, and he delivers classes. There's also Adam McCormick. Now, sometimes there are sort of local community centres that provide sign language classes as well. So it's just worth having a wee, putting your feelers out and seeing what's available there. But I will say you'll enjoy yourself if you do it.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Just on that, could I ask?
Yes, go ahead, Eamon.
Sorry, is there any forums out there? If you don't use it, you lose it. I started doing ISL many years ago and moved away. I was up in Derry when I moved away, and I've lost pretty much all of it. BSL also, I did stage 1. Are there any forums out there online where you can join in on a chat, or to be able to maintain that practice?
Ooh, good question, Eamon. My goodness. Now, a long time ago, pre-COVID, we did have people that would go to the local deaf club, Instagram, social media. There's plenty of different influencers out there who are sign language users. So it might be worth, just as a way of engaging, you know, watching those videos, watching that content that's being put out, just as a refresher to, you know, sort of to engage. And there's plenty of opportunity. There's plenty of sign language available on social media, you know, content being put out. So that might be a good way of practicing.
Thank you.
I can see a comment there linking in with, I think it's Maria Smith. And Maria, I know yourself and that you work the sensory support team in the Western Trust area. And that's the perfect answer. Maria, would you like to please explain in relation to what you're doing there? I hope that's okay to ask you to do that.
Hi, I'm Mariette. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
a little bit quiet. If you wouldn't mind coming closer to your mic.
Yes. I'm working through a laptop here, so I'm not too sure how well it'll pick up. Is that any better?
Ish. Go on ahead, Maria.
Yeah, just to reinforce Mariette's point that there is a sensory team in each trust, and we work with deaf, hard of hearing, visual loss. And we can do assessments for equipment if someone feels that they need that, and we can do that in the home as well as in the nursing home if needs be, because ultimately that becomes someone's home when they move there. So there's lots of different equipment that can be used with hearing aids and without hearing aids, and it's all based on assessment. I know that in the Western Trust we have an open referral system, so it's just a matter of phoning through and discussing concerns. But we work very closely with RNID and the hearing aid clinics, with Mary Kirkchick in the Western Trust Mariette. And the service she provides is absolutely fantastic for clients, supporting and gain confidence with their hearing aids. And then it's a nice compliment then after that for us to go out and assess, because people are more confident with their hearing aids thereafter.
Oh, Maria, thank you so much.
Okay.
Anyone else?
No.
Okay.
Thank you very much, ladies. And thank you to everyone for joining us today. I think you'll agree with me. I think it was a very good session and lots of information. And I know I've definitely got a few sites that I want to go and investigate as well. As I said earlier, the session has been recorded and we will make it available in the next week or so, but we will send you the link when we have got it available. Thank you again. Thank you, Mariette, Sheila and Sally. It's been very nice to meet you, and thank you for doing the lunchtime seminar for us today. Thank you, everyone.